Hi friends, in our time together today, I'm going to introduce a fingering chart for our whistles in the key of D. The fingering chart will run from the bottom D up to the third octave D, which is traditionally the highest expected note on the whistle. And I'll include all the standard fingering in the top half of the page. I'll include also in there the G sharp. I know that's an accidental, but it's the one you're going to encounter the most, so I've included that. And in addition to that, I've included the optional fingerings for the C natural first octave, second octave D, C natural second octave, and the C sharp second octave. Whew. One of the reasons we have all these optional fingerings is that not every whistle's the same. I've mentioned that to you before. The best tone quality for me on the first octave C natural, and that's the one we traditionally talk about. And I did a whole video on that. The best tone quality for me on my Howard low D might not be the same best tone quality for you. There is the expected fingering that you ought to get best tone quality from it, but then there are other options. Also, another reason to know some good options, depending upon the run you're playing or the sequence you're playing, you might want to use an alternate fingering. For example, when I introduced the Wizard of Oz tune, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, there was a section that goes B, D. And you could go B, D, B, D, but you could also go B, D, B, D, and not lift that number one finger. So I'm going to walk through this, but I'll also put a link in the notes to this video so you could download the fingering chart. And if you know other optional fingerings that work for you, in addition to what I have, I'll add them to the chart. Here it is. I'll just walk through the normal scale. You know it, but I still want to go through it. I'll start on the low D, and I'll walk up D, E, F, G, A, B, and all the way up to the third octave D. Those are all the fingerings you'd expect. I did include the G sharp in the top half of the page, which is, as I've said before, you half hole. That means uncover half of the hole of that third finger, the G whole finger. So I'm going to go from G to G sharp. And you could do that on most any tone hole. But the G is the one you're most likely to experience from an accidental standpoint. We've already talked about the C naturals, but let me show this to you. You could play the second and third finger, the second finger, the second, third, fourth, and sixth finger, or the second, third, fourth finger, or you could half hole the number one hole. And I don't think I included that in my C natural video. Let me run through those. You'll hear some of the notes sound very similar. You'll hear slightly different tone quality. And then when you play this on your whistle, you might have one of these alternate fingerings you prefer. So C natural, I'm going to run through all the alternates. differences in the tone quality of each of those notes. When I'm checking this on my whistle, if it's a fast run, it's immaterial. No one's going to notice. But if I'm in a tune where tone quality is an issue, then I want the best selection. And so I open up the tuner on my iPad and I play each of these notes to see which one is better. And then I practice it and I leave it going while I'm playing a tune and I pay attention. And that's how I make the selection as to which one I prefer. And sometimes, as you experiment with that tone quality, you could actually then blow a little harder or softer to see how that changes the pitch. And you could find that when you blow soft, it might be a little flat, and you blow harder, it might tend to go good and maybe a hair sharp. There's a little acceptable range. Now, second octave D, these are ones you know easily. So there is the standard. But if you're careful, just cover all the fingers and play it as though you were jumping from a low octave E to the high octave E. It's just a breath pressure thing. So you can play the second octave D with all fingers. Now, C natural second octave. This one, that one was a bit of a bear for me the other day, and that's what sent me down this rabbit hole. C natural first octave, remember we walked through all the options, second, third whole, second, third, fourth, sixth, second, third, fourth. But if I try and just like play up, I'm going to start with the G, and I'm actually going to use the second and third whole fingering for the C natural. It's bad, I'll warn you. That's not the right note. So the first option is half whole. That works on both the first octave C natural and the second octave C natural, half whole number one. Also, the second whole covered fourth, fifth, sixth, that works on both the first and second octave C sharp. And here's a different one, second, third, fourth, and fifth, leaving the top and the bottom holes uncovered. I'll show you each of those. I'll walk up from the G. Again, you heard slightly different tone qualities from each of those. Experiment on your whistle. Then the C sharp, we're accustomed to playing it no holes covered, and that works well on the second octave C sharp. But an alternate fingering I've found that gives me a slightly cleaner tone quality is the fourth, fifth, and sixth holes covered. I'll start at the second octave D. You hear that minimal difference, but the fourth, fifth, and sixth holes covered on my whistle makes that slightly cleaner. So I wanted to share this full fingering chart with you with all the natural notes played on our D whistles, including the one accidental, the G sharp. Please look through the fingering chart. If there are additional alternate fingerings you use, shoot me an email, scott@lowdwhistle.com. Actually, it's probably better comment on the video. That way everybody could see it, because we've got great conversations we have on these videos. I love how you guys jump in. It's good to be in community learning, isn't it? So check these out. this is for our benefit. And remember, I'm growing in my journey. Everything I learn, I want to share with you. And when I hit that roadblock with a second octave C natural, I thought, all right, put everything else on hold and come up with a fingering chart for the community. So there it is, my friends. Until next time, happy whistling. This is Scott Shade.